Quick little update on the TE 250 fuel injected bike. This is going to be my 2018 race bike. As discussed before, we sort of changed out a few things. Put the air forks on it, set them up quite high in the triple clamps to give it that same feel as the TX, because the forks are a little bit longer than the TE forks. I really like those air forks, makes a huge difference. One thing I found is I couldn't get the bike to turn in like I could the TX still, even though everything was set up pretty much the same. Turns out that the handlebars were 20 millimeters higher than the TX handlebars, so I changed them out. I got some Carmichael bend, more of the motocross style bars. They're 20 millimeters lower than the stock TE 250i bars. Feels a lot better, pretty much fixed the problem. Everything's good, turns in good now, handles good, nimble, does everything it's supposed to do. Haven't had to top the oil up yet. This is the oil filler here. It hasn't needed to. It still looks fairly full. It's definitely getting oil. When you first start it up, it smokes a little bit until it's warm. These bikes like to take a little while to warm up compared to the carbide bike. So if you ever need to just jump on and ride, make sure you just start them up and let them warm up for a bit. The other thing was the gearbox spacing. Not really used to it. Had close ratio transmission on the TX. This one's a little bit wider ratio, so you end up getting into first quite a bit. And then there's a gap between first and second, so what I did is I've just put a 51 tooth on the back. Hopefully that will keep me up in the second gear a lot more, give me a little bit more drive up doing the tighter technical stuff. It will lose a little bit of top speed. Top speed on this is about 127 kilometers an hour flat out. I've noticed it doesn't rev quite as well as the TX. It tends to hit quite a rev limiter. Probably feels like about 800 or 900 RPMs earlier than what the carbide bike would. Seems to run pretty cool. The electric fan hasn't come on, even though we were doing some pretty crazy technical hill climbs last weekend. Just checked the sag again. Initially I had trouble getting the sag scale on it's magnetic from RMR suspensions here in BC, but I found out this was just a plastic cap here, so I just hit it with a hammer. That allowed a flat surface for the magnet on the slacker scale to go on. Check the sag on 92 kilograms, and the sag has come up perfect. 35 millimeter static sag and 111 or 110, pretty close, millimeters rider's sag. So technically stock spring is perfect, which is quite unusual. I usually have to put quite a much heavier spring on. So yeah, changed the bars. That made the steering a lot better, made the rider position a lot better, made it easier to stand up on the hill climbs. That's why I don't run bar risers. Bar risers are pretty stupid things unless you're really lazy and just sit down all the time. And other than that, yeah, just loving the bike. The power's a little bit more peaky than what the TX was. It's sort of really great in the technical terrain with the fuel injection. Very good for idling around up over rocks and stuff like that. And then just onto sort of quarter throttle, it's a little bit of a lull in power, and then it just comes on strong as your revs increase, which you get used to pretty quick. I'm not worried about it. I'm not looking at remapping it or anything like that at this stage. Other than that, just out enjoying the bike. I've got about 200 kilometers on it. We've probably done a total of maybe 6 or 7 hours. I'm not sure. I tried looking at the dashboard to see if it had an hour meter. I couldn't find any way to get into the hour meter on it. I'm sure it's there, but it's partly hidden now because I've got the Pro Taper handlebar pad on, so the dashboard's in behind here, if you can see that. But other than that, great machine, still going well. I'll keep updating as time goes by. That's all for now, folks. Bye.